I intended to remain as faithful as Penelope was to her Odysseus. That would have been a truly inspiring vow. If only the words hadn't seemed so unbelievable to me. The irony was too much. My disbelief came from the fact that these words were written by my ex-wife, in her own handwriting, almost a year after our divorce was finalized due to her infidelity. This so-called solemn promise was included in the invitation to her upcoming wedding, which had just arrived in my mailbox. Yes, my ex-wife was moving at lightning speed, like the German army in 1940, pushing through the Ardennes toward the English Channel. Though, for some reason, I found myself thinking about the relentless force of the Soviets on its flank. Perhaps it was because I had been watching Peace at War on my screen while sorting through my mail. Laurence Olivier's performance was brilliant. Truthfully, I had already moved on after our divorce. I had gone on a few dates and even found an intriguing woman with potential for a serious relationship. But this nonsense from my ex? It was infuriating. I suppose that was exactly why she sent the invitation. To provoke me. She knew I loved classical literature, so it was her way of subtly mocking me. She also knew about my temper. It was almost like she was daring me. I could picture her laughing as she sent the invitation, wondering if I would have the audacity to crash her wedding. When I had caught her cheating, I found them asleep in my bed. I lingered just long enough to snap a few quick photos before they noticed me. Then, without hesitation, I sprinted forward and landed a few solid punches right in the guy's crotch. My wife screamed and tried to stop me while her lover collapsed onto the floor, coughing up wine and snacks onto the bedroom carpet. In a fit of rage, I turned and kicked her twice as well, because I felt I hadn't done it right the first time. I believe in doing things properly and seeing them through to the end. Then, I growled at the cheating duo, warning them that they should be grateful for my restraint. I made it clear that if I saw a police car coming my way anytime soon, I'd track them down immediately, this time, with a little help from the esteemed Dr. Smith and Wesson, to perform the quickest procedure on their idiotic heads. Thankfully, this vigorous exercise helped me cleanse my soul, just as thoroughly as a divorce settlement that split our assets equally. No alimony for my unfaithful wife, thanks to the incriminating photos I had taken that night. Thankfully, our state recognized adultery as valid ground for divorce. Of course, I also made sure to inform her lover's wife about the affair. Not out of anger, but simply because I believe in seeing things through. Surprisingly, none of this stopped my ex from trying to win me back. She launched a full-blown campaign to reconcile. She apologized, begged to talk, and even suggested counseling. She got her friends and family to call me, urging me to give her another chance. Oh, and she also bombarded me with sappy cards and letters filled with incomprehensible drivel every single day. It made no sense. She obviously hadn't been happy with me before, so why couldn't she just move on without me? I didn't understand it, and honestly, I didn't care. Then, a few months ago, she finally stopped trying. Now I knew why. A simple internet search led me to a wedding website, where I discovered the identity of the latest poor fool. Penelope, my ass. There was no way she would have waited 20 years for her Odysseus to return. I had only been out of town for a weekend, and she had already had her legs behind her ears. If I had to guess, I'd give this marriage 2 years, tops, before she started counting ceiling tiles in some cheap motel while bouncing around with another guy. Her new fiancé's work email and phone number were easy to find, so I sent him an email. I attached copies of my divorce petition and court order, both of which listed his name as the reason for the dissolution of my marriage. I also included the incriminating photos from that unforgettable night. Along with the attachments, I wrote him a congratulatory note, advising him to consider signing a prenuptial agreement, just in case. The next day, I received an email from the guy. "Why are you doing this?" Rather than replying with another email, I decided to call him. "Brothers before," I said casually. I could hear him chuckle on the other end. He seemed like a reasonable guy. "No. Seriously, why?" he asked again. I had no reason to be mad at him, so I told him the truth. "Your lovely fiancée, who also happens to be my ex-wife, sent me an invitation to your wedding. She included a note about how devoted and faithful she's going to be to you. That pissed me off. I'm trying to move on with my life, but she keeps trying to mess with me. After everything she's done, I don't trust her. Maybe you do. That's your problem. But I figured I'd send you this message. What you do with it is up to you. I'm done with it. The guy listened without interrupting. I have no idea what she told you about how our marriage ended, but just in case I could save you some future heartache, I wanted you to have the full picture. When I finished, he simply said, "Thank you," before hanging up. A few weeks later, I received a voicemail from my ex. "You bastard," she screamed into the phone. That was it. It seemed her little love story had hit its own version of Stalingrad. The wedding was canceled. What a shame.